Do you guys see anything out there? I guess it's safe to read. Ghost Stories of America, compiled by Dan Asfar and Edrick, Thay. As long as nothing's out there, that is. Hopefully you guys can turn out the lights. Turn up the fire if it's a little cold and let it flicker around you. And let's read Rhode Island, the Sprague Mansion. Whilst I'm reading, grab your copies of the book, like, subscribe, and share with others, that they may feel the spooky spirit of Halloween. Rhode Island's historic Sprague family was grand in every way. Its manifold accomplishments, and as august as its failures, were tragic. The family's history featured fantastic wealth and power, the laurels of military glory, and the arrangement of dynastic marriage. And there are few clans in the history of the United States that can claim comparable success. But all these lofty achievements were matched by troubles as disastrous as the Sprague family's acquisitions were fortuitous. Premature death among the family's senior members marred the Sprague family account in the 19th century, and political and nuptial scandal made the vulnerable family into a subject for society gossip. The ultimate deterioration of the family fortune in the 1870s marked the end of the Sprague's tenure as one of the preeminent American families. While the Sprague's greatness was a thing of the past by the late 1800s, their tortured legacy did not recede so easily. The drama of the wealthy Rhode Island family continues to find voice in the enormous Sprague mansion that still stands in Cranston, Rhode Island. Once the seat of power for the rich clan, it now serves as the headquarters for the Cranston Historic Society, and is also considered one of the most haunted locations in the Ocean State. The first phase of the Sprague Mansion was constructed in 1790, financed by William Sprague, a local businessman who operated a grist mill on the banks of the Pocos River. Originally, the house was a humble abode. William himself was pragmatic, more concerned with tending to the family business than with surrounding himself with the trappings of luxury. His attention to finance did not go unrewarded, replacing his grist mill with a cotton mill in 1807. William founded the Cranston Print Works, a business that would make the Sprague family one of the giants of the American textile industry. Within a few years, the Spragues became one of the country's biggest calico producers, while paving the way for chemical bleaching of fabric. But the architect of the Sprague success story would not live to see its ultimate fruition. William died in 1836 after a failed surgical attempt to remove a fishbone he had swallowed. The Cranston Print Works was inherited by William's two able sons, Amasa and William Jr. It was under these two men's stewardship that the Spragues became Rhode Island's most celebrated family. While both brothers were elected to the state legislature, William had more of an affinity for rubbing shoulders and focused most of his attention on politicking. Amasa threw the bulk of his energy into managing the print works, just as William, the boy governor of Rhode Island, was appointed to the Senate. Yet misfortune was never far behind the Sprague achievements. On December 31st, 1941, Amasa left for Johnston on a business trip. It was a journey he would never complete. His body was found the next day, only a few miles from home, face down in the snow, just off the Johnston Road, as cold as the frozen red snow that spread around his lifeless limbs. Authorities determined that the textile tycoon had been bludgeoned to death and robbed shortly after he had left Sprague home the day before. The man named John Gordon became a suspect in the murder and was hanged after he was found guilty during a hasty trial. The tragedy of Amasa's death darkened several shades when evidence emerged that exonerated the man who was executed by the state. It was impossible to bring Gordon back, but the ensuing public furor impelled the state legislature to amend its penal system. John Gordon was the last convict to be executed in Rhode Island. As for the man who had taken Amasa's life, his identity would never be revealed. After the death of his brother, William took the reins of the family business. Under him, the Cranston print works continued to flourish, with the Sprague fortune reaching its peak in the mid-1860s. As the company began the largest calico producer in the world, the 1860s were eventful years for the Sprague heir. William distinguished himself as a brave officer in 1861 when he had his horse shot out from underneath him during the Battle of Bull Run. He became known as one of the more ardent Union statesmen, personally financing the formation of the Rhode Island regiments. In 1863, he wed Kate Chase, an ambitious Washington socialite who was the daughter of Solomon Chase, Secretary of the Treasury, and it was said that William's wedding gift to his young bride was a diamond tiara worth $50,000. It was also at this time that William took it on himself to renovate the Sprague home in Cranston. Construction began in 1864, transforming the spacious modesty of the original Sprague household into a sprawling Victorian mansion. But there would be little in the way of familial happiness within the lofty walls of the Sprague mansion. William and Kate were not well suited for each other, and their incessant fighting soon consumed every part of their home life. Things had gotten really bad by the 1870s. William was drinking far too much and began resorting to physical violence during the frequent rows with his wife. When the flagging family business was no longer able to support Kate's excessive spending, not even the strength of Victorian convictions could keep the couple together. The Sprague mansion was put up for sale. William and Kate divorced, and the once powerful Rhode Island family fell into obscurity. But that is not the end of their story. Today, the tumultuous events of the Sprague family record are interesting not only to local history buffs. Strange accounts began emerging from the Sprague mansion soon after it was sold. Stories of strange moans drifting down the halls in the middle of the night, of cold spots that move through the dank air of the wine cellar, of invisible forces that throw blankets off sleepers in the middle of the night. It seems as if there is something in Sprague mansion that refuses to rest, something that continues to brood in the cold opulence of the old manor. Given the dramatic story of Rhode Island's most famous family, there is no shortage of theories explaining the eerie happenings of the 19th century home. Some say that the spirit of William Sr. is responsible for these supernatural disturbances. It may be that, obsessed with the downfall of the empire he founded, he was unable or unwilling to leave the Sprague mansion. Perhaps he was refusing to let go of the one earthly possession he believes should be his family's inalienable right. Certainly, such a belief would be in keeping with the proud patriarch's physiology. There are also those who believe that William Sr.'s ghost was responsible for the dissolution of Kate and William Jr.'s marriage, that the constant presence of the elderly Sprague spirit in the house was too much for the distraught couple to deal with. Others attribute the bizarre phenomenon in the mansion to the angry ghost of Amasa Sprague, who was robbed of his life just before the family business became successful. Or perhaps the spirit of John Gordon haunts the home of the man he was falsely convicted of killing. There are a good many paranormal investigators who believe this is the case. Could it be that the ghost who haunts the Sprague mansion is not even a member of the Sprague family? While paranormal enthusiasts debate the identity of the haunt in Sprague mansion, the mystery entity continues to roam over the sprawling building, which now houses the Cranston Historical Society. Many visitors have witnessed the inexplicable footfalls, flickering lights, and cold spots through the mansion. There are some, however, who've actually seen an apparition. According to them, the ghost of Sprague mansion is a humanoid shape, surrounded by thick tendrils of gray mist. The ghost has been spotted all over the mansion, but it seems to be especially attached to the building's main staircase, where it has been seen most often, descending slowly until it dissipates into nothingness at the foot of the stairs. Reportedly, a séance was once held to determine exactly who was haunting the old house. To everyone's surprise, the séance revealed the presence of a ghost that had no connection to the Spragues at all. According to the medium, the disgruntled spirit summoned was one of the former owner's butlers. The butler was upset because the owner willed nothing to his long-employed servant. Just as the medium was about to speak the butler's name, the Ouija board suddenly came to life, spelling "My land" over and over again with incredible speed. For many, the séance resolved nothing, as some speculated that the spirit they reached could have been any mischievous shade. The ghost of one of the Spragues, or poor old John Gordon, trying to deceive them. What the séance did confirm was that there was a very strong supernatural presence in the Sprague mansion. And whatever its reasons for being there, the spirit continues to haunt the old building, giving many visitors the Cranston Historical Society a dynamic, if somewhat eerie, exposure to Rhode Island's past. Thank you for listening to Sprague Mansion. If you guys have been there, please do leave a comment down below, so that the rest of us who have not been there know if this is a place that we should go. Also, hopefully you guys were able to read along with me, like, subscribe, and share this channel with others. And I do hope that you have a wonderfully spooky Halloween.